Hello and welcome to Bharat I'm Brigadier Chatterji. Our regular viewers would recall that we had a series on Neighborhood Watch in which we examined our relationship with countries primarily in South Asia and Southeast Asia. But international relations are a very dynamic issue and we need to review and revisit these relations time and again. So that's the attempt today. We start with a discussion on our relationship with Bangladesh. To carry me through the paces, I have with me Vice Admiral Ravneet Singh. Vice Admiral Ravneet Singh has been the Deputy Chief of Naval Staff. He is currently retired and a strategic analyst and thinker. Welcome, Admiral, to Bharat. Thank you for joining us. Like I said, Bangladesh is one of our, I would say, very important neighbors. We are connected to them physically, culturally, in many different ways. So, how's this relationship right now? And before you say that, I would like to know what is the strategic importance of Bangladesh, as also the strategic importance of Bay of Bengal.
Initially, I'll talk about the strategic importance of Bangladesh, then I will go to the strategic importance of the Bay of Bengal. First of all, when you talk about the geopolitical location of Bangladesh, Bangladesh shares a border of about 4,000 kilometers with India. And Bangladesh being there, it gives us access to the northeastern states which are otherwise landlocked. So it's a huge inroads we make into our northeastern states. And second thing is the strategic importance of the trade and economic relations which we have in Bangladesh. And it is one of the India's major trading partners, Bangladesh, and the commercial outflow and inflow has been increasing year on year, and it has really come to quite a nice package where we are exporting a lot of things to Bangladesh and we are importing few things from Bangladesh also. And both countries are part of a sub-regional committee that I would say is a BIMSTEC, that is the Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation, which aims to promote the regional connectivity and the economic cooperation. Also, there's another thing, the BBIN, that is Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Nepal, where they're clubbed into the four. It's again a sub-regional committee where again looks at how best we can look at the commercial terms, how we can help each other. And next, third is the security and the counter-terrorism cooperation, because India and Bangladesh face similar problems across the borders of smuggling, drug smuggling, terrorism across the border. So since we share the common borders, we can really help each other to counter these things. And now next is the energy cooperation. Energy cooperation also is extremely important. That there's a proposed gas line project between India, Bangladesh and Myanmar, where the gas will come from Myanmar to India, routed through Bangladesh. So that is another very essential part of energy cooperation, which in turn leads to your energy security. And then connectivity and infrastructure, which is extremely important, being a neighbor which has got border about 4,000 kilometers. If we can improve the connectivity, the roads and the ports and the railways, then it's a win-win situation for both the countries, and it will contribute to the social economic development of both the countries. And finally, the biggest thing is the people to people, the cultural exchange, because if you look at Bangladesh, we share the same historical, linguistic and cultural ties. So people to people contacts will make a lot of difference. And when we strengthen the people to people contact, this will enhance our mutual understanding. It will foster goodwill and build a strong foundation for our bilateral relationships. Now, that was about the strategic location of Bangladesh. Now, when I come to the strategic location of Bay of Bengal, now, Bay of Bengal is an extremely important from the point of view of trade and maritime connectivity. So, it serves as a crucial maritime trade route connecting South Asia with Southeast Asia. And there's a lot of this traffic which transits through Bay of Bengal. Many international shipping lines pass through the Bay of Bengal, and enhancing maritime connectivity in Bay of Bengal will boost the economic and integration, increase of trade, and promote regional development. And the second part is your energy resources. The Bay of Bengal has huge amount of energy resources which are being tapped and which are still lying untapped. So there is a scope, there is a chance that when we have a lot of energy resources available, then both the countries can really, all the countries in the Bay of Bengal can mutually benefit. Then its geostrategic location of Bay of Bengal. It serves as a gateway for India's northeastern states, which are otherwise landlocked. So through Bangladesh, which has got about 580 kilometers of coastline and has got some good deep sea ports and inland ports, they can be utilized for to getting commodities and other things to the northeastern states. Then again, the security and the maritime cooperation. This again, when we talk about the maritime cooperation, it's again when it talks about piracy, illegal fishing, and IUU, unregulated fishing in these areas. So all the countries in the Bay of Bengal can cooperate so that we have control over all these illegal things. Then natural disasters and humanitarian assistance. That's what we call it, HADR in our terms. So we are quite susceptible. You are aware that how tsunami happened and then what all assistance was given to these countries. So all these countries in this region will regularly cooperate and we exchange notes, we train with each other. This will help in mitigating a lot of the things which can take place during the any flood or anything like a tsunami. Then environmental conservation. It is an extremely important issue today, and especially in the Bay of Bengal, which has got a very vast marine ecosystem, so that when all the countries get together, we can help regulate all these things, and we can help in preserving the environmental conservation in this area.
Well, obviously, there are very many areas where so the cooperation is required and cooperation is there already. In fact, we've had both the presidents visiting each other to get the relations to be a little stronger. Can I ask you to just tell me that what are the major agreements that we have with the Bangladesh the people as such, as a country-to-country agreements, which will quite serve all these purposes that you were talking about?
So I won't talk about, we have signed a lot of agreements with Bangladesh, but I will just cover the agreements under the various heads, which are self-explanatory, and they'll tell you that all the agreements come under those respective heads. First is the land boundary agreement, which was signed in 2015. This land boundary agreement was a landward agreement which has been signed, so that basically there were a lot of people who were living in different enclaves. So that has regularized the enclave. Now, the enclave is it's an area which has been surrounded by the territory of another country. So that has been regularized. So the option was given to the people, you choose your nationality. So the people exercise the nationality, so that has been regularized. And now the territories are also very well earmarked, so that there is no ambiguity. A lot of agreements on the trade and economic cooperation, and India has pledged a LOC of $2 billion, which is one of the largest which India has pledged to any country. So that will help a lot in Bangladesh, the way they invest into it to grow the economy. Then even river water sharing. This is another agreement which a lot of agreements have been signed on the river water sharing, which will help in getting the trade, enhance the trade and the connectivity. And through this river water sharing, we can access the north areas of the northeast. Security cooperation, it's again a self-explanatory, which I have already spoken. Then power and energy agreements have been signed on the power and energy aspect also. And Bangladesh imports about 1,110 megawatts of energy as we say today from India, and it's in the pipeline that there's something known as the friendship pipeline, where the talks are in advanced stages, where the pipeline will run from India to Bangladesh, and which will carry high-speed diesel. So that is when we talk about the power and energy. Then we talk about connectivity and transportation. A lot of agreements have been signed on the connectivity and the transportation between the rail, sea route and even the flight routes between both the countries. So they have opened quite a bit. And then people-to-people ties. A lot of agreements have been signed to improve the ties between the people, because a lot of people from Bangladesh travel to India for the medical education, and they have their relations in India. And efforts have been made to improve the visa facilitation for all these people. In fact, the maximum visa facilitation centers are opened up in Bangladesh than any other country. Then there have been agreements which have been signed on basically on space technology, collaboration, IT systems, use of railways, movement of freight, science and technology, and even training of Bangladeshi personnel. That includes your railway and judicial officers in India, and cooperation between the Prasar Bharati and the Bangladesh television. So a lot of agreements have been worked upon all these issues. So this, I will talk about the agreements between India and Bangladesh. But when I talk about specifically on the defense cooperation part, I would say that we have signed an agreement on the defense cooperation framework, and there have been line of credit of $500 billion US, which has been given to Bangladesh. That's also under an agreement. There have been a lot of MOUs which have been signed between NDC India and NDC Bangladesh, Defense Services Staff College and his equivalent staff college in Bangladesh, DIAT Pune and MIST Bangladesh. DIAT is the Defense Institute of Advanced Technology in India, and MIST is the Military Institute of Science and Technology in Bangladesh. So these agreements from the military point of view have also been signed. Even Army Public School with the Bangladesh Army schools. So it has a lot of agreements have been signed under various heads.
So, one such thing that you've just talked about was this 500 million line of credit that we've extended. Has Bangladesh purchased any equipment from us? Has it shown interest in India for bigger platforms? What's the status right now?
So, as per my understanding, Bangladesh has at the moment procured your safety jackets and helmets. These are all small ticket items, but yes, as I understand that they're looking for big ticket items also. And when I talk about big ticket items, is basically looking at specialist vehicles from India, maybe Tatas or Mahindras, and even they're looking at helicopters, and maybe they might have interest in the light combat aircraft also.
Right. You see, all of us, I think, we have a little apprehensive about the growing Chinese influence in Bangladesh. And we are mostly concerned with any domination of Bay of Bengal. So what's the kind of interest that they have displayed so far in the Bangladesh ports so far, them developing them, which could possibly be also for military purposes, as also any Navy-to-Navy kind of interaction that they have?
So initially, I'll just talk about the interest Chinese have shown in the Bangladesh ports. And Bangladesh has got one of the oldest port, that is your Chittagong port, or what they call it, the Chattogram port. That is one of the oldest port, and it's been documented being there in the 4th century BCE. It's that old port and a very, very famous port, and it's a huge transshipment port. So the Chinese are looking at Chittagong port. They are going to invest into quite a bit into it, and since in 2016, one of the Chinese company, the China Harbour Engineering Company, also signed an agreement with the Chittagong Port Authority to enhance to improve the connectivity and expand the port facilities, and even increasing the handling capacity of the Chittagong port. And then another port which they've shown interest is the Paira port. This Paira port is located, it's again a deep sea port. It is in the southern part of Bangladesh, and Chinese again shown a lot of keen interest in developing the facilities, and the way they look at it, they will then convert into a major transshipment port, the Paira port, with the Chinese help. And then another port which they are very keen is the Sonadia Deep Sea Port. The Sonadia Deep Sea Port is very close to the Cox's Bazar. It's just north of Cox's Bazar, and it is the south of Chittagong port. And this is a deep sea port which requires a lot of effort, a lot of help, Chinese help in the development of the port. Again, once they develop the port, it will enhance the connectivity, enhance the ability to handle the port, handle the cargo. So this is what they are at the moment really looking at seriously. And even now, when we're talking about ports, you are well aware of uh, the economic corridor what China has been talking about all these years. So Bangladesh is also a very important country which has factored in this in the corridor. And what they have, Chinese have proposed that we have a corridor which basically is Bangladesh, China, India, and Myanmar. This is a proposal, but India has not really acceded to it. So the main aim of that corridor would be again to enhance the connectivity, to improve the ports, the handling capacity of the ports, so that the ports can be used to feed the western part of China, which is at the moment landlocked. That is a huge advantage which China will accrue when he makes a lot of investments in these areas and gets this connectivity through. And a lot of financial assistance is being provided by China to Bangladesh. And so this financial assistance which is being given to Bangladesh is also being used to enhance the connectivity and enhance the infrastructure in the ports. That is again transforms to deep sea port and the cargo handling facilities.
Is there any naval operational implication of all this as far as the Chinese are concerned? And do they carry out Navy-to-Navy exercises, etc.?
So they have a lot of Chinese have a lot of interaction with the Bangladesh Navy. In fact, Chinese and Bangladesh Navy, they do regular exercises. Even the Bangladesh officers are being trained in China. They've been given scholarships and being trained in China. A lot of ships from Bangladesh visit China, and ships from China also do visit Bangladesh. And then a lot of defense equipment and technology is being shared between Bangladesh and China. Bangladesh at the moment is predominantly has Chinese equipment. Especially when you talk about the ships, they are generally the frigates, corvettes, and the fast attack crafts are of the Chinese origin. But they do have a mix of the Russian origin also. But predominantly, I would say it is the Chinese equipment which is being used. And they also work together in countering piracy, terrorism, and other issues. So they also work closely together towards the maritime security aspects also.
So, with that much of, let's say, interaction with the Chinese, what about us? What's our Navy-to-Navy interaction, military-to-military interaction? How are we countering this? How do we, like you said, the Chinese are well into the equipping the army. It's the same kind of a dependence that we had with the Russians. Now we are possibly trying to wean away Bangladesh, like we've been also weaned away from Russians by the Americans, etc. What are we doing in terms of military-to-military interaction and, let's say, feeding our own equipment?
So when it comes to military interaction, that we have mechanisms in place. Like Indian Navy also exercises, goes on a goodwill visit to Bangladesh. Bangladesh Navy ships also come on a goodwill visit to India. And when we go there, we do exercises with them. When they come here, we do exercise with them. And we have participated in the fleet review. They also come in India and participated in the fleet review. They have seminars. We have seminars. They are part of IONS, Indian Ocean Naval Symposium. They're part of IORA, Indian Ocean Region Association. So we both are common participants in IONS and IORA. So we do have discussions with them. And then plus in addition, we have annual defense dialogues. Then we have INBN Navy, Indian Navy, Bangladesh Navy staff talks. We have tri-services staff talks. We have coordinated patrols with Bangladesh along the IMBL. We have they have an exercise Bongo Sagar in which we participate. It is the Bangladesh Navy bilateral exercise, and then Bangladesh Navy observers come whenever we have exercise on HADR. Then we have something known as the Goa Maritime Symposium and Goa Maritime Conclave. That is where the Bangladesh does participate actively. So, and even we do regular training for the Bangladesh officers under the ITEC scheme, which is the flagship scheme of MEA. And we are also made customized training for the Bangladesh Navy personnel, including the OJT. And we're going to step further, and we are even training the trainers. So they've sent a team that to Cochin and flag officers training, where they are being trained to be the trainers. So they are like inspecting the ships.
Okay.
They're giving that sort of training, and they get that mandate with the training.
Right. One last question. We're neighboring countries, so economic cooperation, commercial interests of both countries in each other, etc. That goes again to strengthen the relationship. Anything that you would like to talk about in terms of economic, commercial relationship between the two countries?
I think we are on the right track. When you talk about the commercial, it is the year-on-year growth has been very impressive. It has been about 44%. As we speak today, we export about $16 billion worth of commercial items to Bangladesh, and we import about $2 billion from Bangladesh. And they, like I said earlier, that there's a lot of cooperation going on. But when I talk about the defense field, yes, we can still do a lot in the cyber security, because we both face the same challenges. We can work with each other on the cyber security part and strengthen. And the second thing, what we look at is research and development. We can partner together in research and development, and we can invest together in getting new technologies and getting the new equipment. And we can even collaborate together in the space aspect also. One is the space technology, and the other thing is the sharing of the space resources, where we can share the intelligence gathered through the space resources with the Bangladesh. I think we are on the right track, and with every passing year, the number of visits have increased. Both a lot of people, like military officers, a lot of people from the ministry, they go there, and a lot of people from Bangladesh come there. And this bonhomie was very evident when we celebrated the 50 years of formation of Bangladesh.
Right. I think we'll finish this discussion on that note. Thank you so much, Admiral. Thanks for joining Shakti.
Thank you very much.
And thank you, viewers. Thanks for logging on. Do log in like this now and then, and you will find such interesting discussions. Thank you.